Hi everyone, welcome to our tech podcast series of Azure Developer Community. Today I am Chavi, your podcaster, and we have Catalin with us. He is a software architect at EPAM and he has an amazing experience at Azure. So I welcome you, sir, and let's hear something about you from you.
So, let's say, very happy to be part of this podcast. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
As you heard, I'm a solution architect at EPAM. Yeah, I work a lot with Azure, but it wasn't a straight forward story. Like everybody in the industry, we started something else. We get it to Azure because the cloud. It seems that it's our destination this year. Um, so should I say more? Um,
Yeah, that's right. That's actually pretty much great. So, in that case, how you actually got started your journey of cloud, and was it difficult for you to get into cloud, or like it was your self journey, like how you actually get started with it?
um, let's put it this way: it was the capabilities. My specialty, interesting specialty, it's the IoT and artificial intelligence in the, let's say, practical application. And IoT does not make sense without a server. And if the server is in the cloud, you have much more power. And that okay started the journey. So we needed something powerful, something that has a lot of feature, something that help us, and that move us into the cloud, and also my interest. And there are a lot of interesting stuff that you can add on and move about. And so I started, let's say, I did know I started using it much more from the Azure where it is, and a lot of technologies that appear in Azure now that really can do money. It's not it's beyond, let's say, technical prowess. Less we can do this. It's something you can earn on top of it, and it's really a magnifier of capabilities. A lot of stuff you can do with Azure instead of doing everything by yourself. And also, it's an interesting, let's say, we can treat Azure like an operating system. It's also an interesting operating system to develop against. And that was pretty much it.
That's really great. And also, apart from that, you have a streak of like around 12 MVP awards at the same time of Microsoft. So, how you actually maintain this streak of 12 MVP awards, and at the same time, how was your experience with the Microsoft Azure MVP journey?
Uh, so again, the Azure MVP journey was same like my professional journey. I started. I do not remember in which category I started. Um, yeah, I believe that it was called application for industrial devices. So we were doing. I was, let's say, awarded first for doing industrial application for scanners and stuff like this. Anyhow, MVP, it's an award. It's a combination between technical depth and width of reach. I was doing a lot of conferences. Then I had, I was maintaining also a blog. And now I have a problem with it because Azure is too fast. Until I make a blog with all the toys that I need at the right quality, it's already old. So this is one of my issues. But getting back, we move from that big devices to smaller devices. Then Azure appeared and it started to have IoT components, and then we moved to IoT components and uh, just using that and all of this, I've got also the Azure category because now I'm still on two categories. I'm Azure and Windows development. So that, let's say, last year comprised the IoT. So because you have the cloud component and the device component, and then try to cover them. I say as you see in my MVP journey, mirrored my professional journey. I started from, let's say, on-prem because cloud did not exist. We needed to do something, and the cloud was the best option. And also, my interest, my MVP category, and what I'm doing at work moved to this.
That's really great to hear that. And also, like as you mentioned about the domain of IoT, so it is very much difficult to get started with the emerging technology of IoT, because when you go on internet and search about AI, ML, data science, it's very easy to get the knowledge and get the basics of AI, ML, data science. But when it comes to IoT, there are very less number of resources of it on internet that are available at the moment. So in that case, like what is your take on the Azure IoT technology, and at the same time, what would you tell the people who are interested in the field of IoT, like any sort of tips that you want to give them?
So I a bit disagree. You have the materials, and also, yeah, anyhow, it's not well organized always. But if you want, you find information about IT. I'll say, as Microsoft is concerned, it's now pretty easy to do an industrial solution from zero and without investing much in hardware. In fact, with Microsoft components. One of the Microsoft components I will mention will be IoT Center, which has also device simulators. You have an absolutely an application with graphics, with twins, but device twins, everything packaged, and you can try it in matter of, let's say, even if you are absolutely fresh, in matter of hours. Um, uh, this I can give you an example. At my previous company, we have colleagues which are hardware engineers, and they were able to create the devices in Azure and all the stuff in matter of really hours, and they hate software. So that it's a good starting point if you are doing a business application. If you are trying to learn, you have also interesting options. Unfortunately, the documentation is fluctuated by who wrote it. So if you are getting from the IoT team, you have find one way of doing it. If you are going, let's say, for example, and maybe it's not a good example, from the Cosmos DB team, which they will have a vision how to get from the IoT devices data into Cosmos DB. Uh, you find a lot of voices, but you still can find the way. So getting back, in short, if you want to start an application you are at work, IoT Central is the way to start it. You can try it, you can play with it. It has let's say pretty much everything. You do not need even hardware to do a demo for your boss, and it's pretty impressive out of the box. Also has a REST API, uh, which is pretty rounded. If you hate how the website is looking, you can do your own website. And on the other hand, the components of the IoT, which is revolving around IoT Hub, are let's say available. You find documentation info for the deeper scenarios, and that it's a place to start. On the other hand, let's put it, there is a quirk in the pricing. Even Hub it's more expensive in normal scenarios than IoT Hub. So sometimes I use it in my solution that have no connection whatsoever with IoT, because as a hub price, it's better for the solution itself. So I say you find way to do it, and because we are talking about Azure for students and for always in Imaging Cup, they can find mentors, they can find support to learn about it.
That's actually great to hear that. And also, like as I said that there is very less number of resources in IoT, but that's pretty much true that you mentioned that, yeah, it's not at all organized. So that's why, like, people like me think that okay, there is no proper resource that I can find on IoT, because ultimately I'm not able to understand that how should I get started with it from the scratch. So yeah, thanks a lot for sharing that. And also, like, what is your take on like what would be the future of Azure IoT?
I must say, um, future Azure IoT, like everything in Azure, it's intertwined with a lot of technology. Now, what technologies are ripe and somehow related to IoT? It's around computer vision. It's very easy to do a computer vision solution with low code um, in the area of Azure Percept. And here I've seen in the, let's say, very short, up to 10, let's say, time frame, 10 months, um, uh, I believe that we'll see a lot of solution using that. Um, the second area, which is obliquely connected with IoT, it's the twins. Twins, it's an interesting concept born from IoT, which somehow flow away from the IoT, and now we'll see it used to max capabilities in some other areas of Azure. Um, and this is on the short term. On the long term, I do not know. There's let's say you discover that some technology that okay, we're now having everything, and uh, they become public, and you see you start understanding what are the scenarios, and you start playing with it. Let's say for me that was computer vision, which is, let's say, in the last 2 years become highly usable as um, as an IoT solution, and as is packaged in Azure Percept. They did a pretty decent job of making everything simple and without almost almost the general, let's say, the simplest part. You do not need even to code to train the model, to deploy the model, um, to update the device. Everything is done from the portal or with Microsoft Graph, whatever. You do not need to code. Afterwards, if you want to process the information, then you do some code. And everything is also pretty fast because the inference it's meant to be done on hardware. So the model it's run on a specialized hardware, and then it's getting the everything. And this is something depends. Could be up to more than 10 times faster than move it into do it on in some other place. It's done in specialized hardware. So everything, let's put it this way, for a beginner, everything is transparent. You just follow the steps, you do something, and you have a solution using computer vision pretty fast.
Thanks a lot for sharing that thing. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining in today for the podcast. And I'm pretty much sure that everyone will be receiving so much from this as we talk about IoT, we talk about Azure at the same time, and also. Uh, Again, when it comes to an emerging technology, I really love talking about it. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining in, and sure we would be coming up with such podcasts super soon.
And thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you.